Shall we go on with the eating?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, because if we don't
It's all been set up.
If we
They've
don't
washed
go
their
on.
hands. The baskets have been filled with bread or with grain, and the wine is all ready to drink.
Yes.
And Lenny, you didn't let them enjoy it. But anyway, the next line is
That's for you.
ଅନ୍είαθ ἑτοῖμα προκείμενα χεῖρας ἰάλλον αὐτάρ ἐπεὶ πόσιος αιρετύος εξ ἔρον 헨το μνηστῆρες τοῖσιν μενή φρεσިν ἀλλα μεμήλει μολπή ώρχηστύς ταγάρ ἀναθήματα δαιτός κῆρυξ den χερσިν κίθαριν περικαλλέα θῆκεν Φημίษ์ω hos re αίντο παρά μνηστῆρσιν ανάνκαι ἐτοὶ hoformizon anabalito kalon aeden. So back to hoi deponeat ἑτοῖμα. Ονείαθ ἑτοῖma is the prepared food. They lying in front of them, three words agreeing with each other, ονείαθ ἑτοῖma προκείμενα. They literally sent their hands, extended their hands to the food which was ready, lying in front of them. Αὐτάρ ἐπεὶ pόσιος, but when, and this is very formulaic language through all of this, but when they had sent out the desire of drink and of food. In other words, when they had satisfied themselves, but 헨ντο is to send, and ἔρον is the direct object. And it's actually ex 헨ντο, when they had sent out their desire of drink and of food, and then the subject in the next line, the suitors, when the suitors had done that.
Can I make
To
a
them.
little
Sure.
suggestion?
Go ahead.
That in English, when you this is not about the Greek, but I think when you have ἐπεὶ and the aorist, a cool way to translate it is once they did it, because I think
Okay.
marking it. Do you see what I mean?
It's the first
It's the first
event.
of a series of steps, right?
Yes.
So, and then the next thing. Okay,
yes.
But anyhow,
Yeah.
I don't know if you like that or not.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
And so when they had done that,
Yeah.
to them, dative, tοῖσιν, in their minds or in their hearts, other things concern them. Music and dancing, which are the adornments of the feast. The kīrυξ, now we can translate that as herald. Why we got a herald? They're supposed to come from away somewhere, and that's
But
not
they're-
what we've got
but,
here.
You have them up in the beginning there of our passage, right? They're sitting there because they brought in the water.
That's right, tοῖσιν κῆρυξ, yes,
Yeah.
that's right. They're the ones who poured we didn't comment on the word there, but I think we've
Yes.
talked about it in other sessions.
Yeah.
And I've forgotten exactly what we said about the kīrυξ, but there they are. They pour the water for them to clean their hands, and now the kīrυξ,
One of them. Yeah.
places the exceedingly beautiful kithara, musical instrument, in the hands of Fημίως. It's to Fημίως in the next line, in the dative, but I guess we'd say of Fημίως. And he, who performed song, who sang, performed song, it's next to or in the presence of the suitors, and then the key word ananke. He was forced to do it by necessity. So we're exculpating Fημίως here.
Already.
Yep.
Right. That
It wasn't his fault.
he didn't choose to do this, and this is one singer exculpating another. Right?
They made me
This
do
is-
it. Yeah.
Right. Let's see. Itoiho formizon anabalato kalon aedein. Oh, let's see. He playing the formizon, the forminx. Now it's a forminx as opposed to a kītharis, and others can expatiate on that a little bit better than I can, I think. Anyway, he playing his musical instrument struck up his beautiful song. Anabalato, again, there are things to say about that, but it's something like to initiate, a song.
Yeah.
So he initiated the singing of his, he began to sing beautifully.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll leave it at that. So that was a little bit rough, but...
No, it was very accurate.
Well, there's one thing is, how do you translate Ɂτοῖ? I have an idea. I'm not
go
sure
ahead.
whether you like it.
You go ahead.
But I think it means even so. In other words, it's picking up on the ἀνάντε, the word before it. So despite the fact that he was doing it in other words, it's sort of insisting on the fact that this is an obstacle to him, but he did it even so.
Okay, let's see. Try the two lines together. Then.
So he was singing.
Mnηστῆρσιν.
He was singing beside the suitors by necessity.
Right.
Even so, he began
to sing a beautiful song.
Yes,
okay,
yeah.
That right. This is again that complimenting him.
Yep.
It's something that occurs to me. The way I would try to say something if I wanted to make an excuse is to say, well, anyway, he was playing on the string instrument and he started to sing a beautiful song.
But the other thing is this is you've got the ra in front of ėda, which is the visualization particle,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So you're of all these beautiful cinematic things, when you zero in on him and the singing, you get a cue to see it, and what you actually have before your own eyes is somebody singing.
That's right.
And you can almost say it. This wouldn't be a translation; it would be an idiomatic paraphrase. You see, he was singing.
Yep.
You see, Yep.
How about the? Anybody want to comment on the kithara versus the?
I wanted to say that I'd like to have a dreamlike vision of this, where if you start focusing on it, as I'm going to be focusing on this text with this, now I see not so much a 4-string instrument. I think I see a 7-string instrument, or is it? And in other words, the forminx is the big one. Is the big one. It's the concert one, and you can't really tie it down to any one historical moment. When you start reconstructing how concert styles changed, even within the 5th century, I think of the work of Tim Power, who's done such beautiful, minute reconstructions of how at one point there was a concert lyre in vogue, but then another point, supposedly in front of 20,000 people, you could try to do a smaller instrument where you wouldn't expect to have very good projection, but you do it anyway because that's what you use in symposia, and then you go back to concert lyre. I had experience once where I was at a concert and there were 3 bouzouki players. And the main one was standing in front of the other 2 who were further back. The other 2 had electrified bouzouki, so they were plugged in, etc. And what was amazing, he didn't.
No.
And so the main one eventually just dominated the whole concert, and this was thousands of people, and you could just tell some people just have it. But what I'm saying is this is a Homeric way of looking at an instrument, and if you focus, there might be 7 strings. If you don't, there might be 4. Whatever.
Kītharis is cognate with guitar, right?
Yeah, it's cognate, and kithara.
Yep.
And
So we can see how these instruments the name may remain
And-
the same, but the thing itself
But,
changes.
you know, I think of how in Italian opera, when you hear cetra, and cetra can be almost anything. If you go to a musicological museum, there may be 20 different instruments to be dated at different times. And it's just your Homeric instrument. And sometimes, and that's why I'm sure you were thinking of that, dear Doug, you see kītharis, and then you see formizon. Well, if you try to tie those down, there would be different instruments at different times, but in Homeric diction, they're synonyms.
Right, right.
And when I say synonyms, I have to qualify that maybe 2-3 different ways, but let's leave it.
Right.